Alright everybody, this quilt in front of me is my neighbor's great-grandmother's quilt. Let me get my light turned on. Has a little bit of damage right here, and that's what we're going to work on today. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the back, and what's great is the backing is intact. Okay, so at least when I like to do these restorations, I'd like for at least one side of it to be intact. Okay, so I've got to cover this whole area, and it's frayed over to here also, so I'm just going to encompass the whole thing. Okay, but I need to replace some of this so it's not quite so bulky. Okay, so to fix it, I've got to deconstruct it a little bit. Okay, we want it to be a nice patch, so we're going to be very careful not to cut the backing. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just cutting this batting off right at the edge of the hole. Alright, so this is our piece. Okay, so now we've got a good, size hole here, right? Where we can cut a patch of batting to put in that hole, right? So let me get some batting so I can kind of feel where the hole is, okay? And I'm going to get my pencil. So I'm just kind of pushing down and letting the pencil follow the outside of the hole, okay? Okay. So now I'm going to cut this out. Alright. Now I'm going to audition this in the hole. Okay, so that looks pretty good right there. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to cut a piece of interfacing. What we're going to do is, this is Tellon SF101, okay? We're going to take a piece of this, okay? What I'm going to cut, I want to have a little bit, like this much overhang, okay? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to put this in the hole, like this, okay, and then going to put this really lightly, and then I'm going to cut like this. So I have like maybe ½ inch, okay, larger than the actual piece of batting. And that's going to secure that batting down to our backing, okay. Essentially, we've got to patch this batting down, okay. So look, this is the rough side, so I know it has the glue on it, okay? This is the soft side. So we're going to just stick this inside the hole, like that. Okay, so now get out my ironing board. It's up here on top of the ironing board. This tucked in where we're supposed to be. Okay, I'm going to give this a good press with steam. I'm going to see how big this hole is. So I've got, see this down here? It's frayed right here. And I'd like to encompass all of that in my patch. So it is going to have to be at least 7 inches long by at least 4 inches wide. Okay, here's my fabric. Cut me a straight line. Alright, so we need, okay, alright, and how far across is it? 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So that's perfect. Let's iron this real quick. I'm going to fold this in half. Now I'm going to find the middle, or somewhere near the middle, by folding it over. So I can find the middle easily. Fold it over so I can make sure it's even on both sides. Whatever I do on one side needs to be symmetrical on the other. So maybe I'll do it half. And then if it covers the hole, I can do more. But like I said, you can take off, but you can't put it back on. Okay? So let me look at my hole. Here we go. Okay, that looks perfect with this patch. Okay? So the way you do this patch is you get your interfacing, draw off a piece that's big enough. This is what we're going to do. So here, what we're going to do is you're going to put right sides together. So you want the sticky part to be to the inside. So when you fold it out, it'll be to the outside. Okay? So get it on there. Make sure everything's on there. Alright? Then what we're going to do is we are going to sew at 1/4 of an inch, no, 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Grab my ruler. Okay, so since these are corners, I'm going to clip the corners. So when it turns out, it'll turn out nicely. But don't cut your stitches. At 1/8 of an inch, you don't really have much. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and cut a slit in the interfacing, okay? Just big enough for you to get this turned out, okay? And since we put the sticky side to the inside, when you flip it out, the sticky side, the glue side of the interfacing will be facing outward. That way you're able to iron it down while you're doing your hand stitching, so you don't have to worry about it moving. Okay? I love that. So just take your whatever you're using, go around the outside of the whole thing. Okay? Sure everything is laying nicely. Okay? Alright, here we go. So don't forget, we're trying to cover this whole hole, and we're trying to cover these frays and these frays. Okay? So we're trying to do all that with one patch. That's why our patch is so large. And we will be able to accomplish it. So, am I doing a good job, Pearl? Huh? Am I? I'm gonna just do some darning right here on these frays, okay? And let's see. God, I wish I could get these sprays in there. Okay, so make sure you got it right where you want it. I finally got everything in. Okay. I'm going to start down here because it's pretty finicky down here about where this needs to sit. Alright, I recommend letting this cool before you do anything else, okay? If we're looking at this, what we're going to do is try to say, okay, so this is where, this is where the quilting was. This is where, so this line connected to this line, like this, okay? Right about like that, okay? Because we've got to put that back in. And then it looks like this line went over to here. And then this line went to there. Then this line looks like it came over to here. And this line came over to here. This line came over to there. Okay? So that's where our quilting needs to go. Okay? So I'm going to do the quilting first, and then I will do the outside, and I'll show you why that is, okay? I'm going to go get some thread. Okay. It helps to have a whole bunch of old-timey vintage thread when you're doing these. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. It's okay. Here's our upholstery needle, okay? I'm going to age this patch with some tea when I get done to blend it into the... So when I do a knot, I wrap it and then I go through 2 times. Okay? So we're going to come over here where this is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out a few stitches, then I'm going to take a stitch right underneath her stitching. Actually, let me start over here. You're going to go in her hole and out her hole, okay? Underneath one of her stitches. And then I'm going to pop this knot inside there. Hopefully. There we go. Okay? Just going to kind of shove the rest of that tail inside the hole, right? And then, like I said, we're going to go right under her stitches just to try to reinforce them. So essentially you're stitching on top of the stitching that is already there, okay? So you're trying to recreate that stitching. Alright, so I'm going to go all the way. If you're on something like I'm on, make sure you don't sew your project to the actual board, okay? So you're going to want to go all the way through the back because we're now quilting, okay? And this is rather tedious work here, okay? Quilting by hand, okay? It'll take you even longer if you keep losing your thread. So we're sewing right on top of the stitches that are already there right now, okay?